talk to some lenders, get a pre-approval letter, talk to a few local lenders, get an idea of what programs, what their rates are. You can have a phone conversation, and within a few hours to maybe a day, you should have that pre-approval letter back, and they will have that top number of your budget for you. Now it's time to start looking. So you reach out to your agent and you start looking at properties. So what you will do, you will sit down with your agent, you will decide, ultimately it's your decision how much you want to offer, and they'll kind of give you a rundown of the options, and they will pull up the area specific paperwork. Best case scenario is it gets accepted right away, they sign it, they give it back to you, you're under contract. The other thing that's pretty common is you submit your offer and they're not quite happy with it, so the seller comes back with a counteroffer and says, you've offered $445, we'd like $450. And you'll go back and forth like this. You'll talk about contingencies and who's covering what taxes and closing costs. You're gonna have any number of inspections that you've written into the contract, and you will have a certain number of days to complete them. That will have been decided upon in the initial negotiation of the contract. After all the inspections are done, you have more negotiations. You negotiate repairs or reimbursement for repairs, or you back out of the contract. If you are taking out a loan, you are required to have an appraisal. The lender will pretty much always, require that, and they will schedule it, in fact. And essentially it determines what the home is worth. They've already started underwriting and doing the basic research when you got that pre-approval letter, but now that you're under contract, they need to finalize the details of your loan, and you need that commitment letter that basically says, yes, you can afford this property, your loan is going to close. Right before closing, as much as a day or two before, or even the morning of, you will do a final walkthrough, and that will just determine that everything that's supposed to be there is there, that they haven't removed, ceiling fans and light fixtures. Once you go under contract, you give the contract and the earnest money deposit to the title company generally, and they start doing the title work, making sure there's no clouds on the title. And once all that paperwork is done, they will give you that clear to close. And once you're clear to close, you can sign the paperwork ahead of time, you can mail it in, you can go in early. There's a million ways to settle it, especially if you are coming in from out of town and you can't necessarily be at the table. At that point, you should get your keys and you're a homeowner.